Hi, my name is Tracy and I am a woman on a journey of recovery. This service is open to anyone, whatever your addiction or wherever you are in the 12-step journey and whether you have faith or not. We'll be using the 12-step prayers and an inventory style reflection on our week plus a short share. The service usually lasts around 12 to 13 minutes. Last week we started a new series based on each of the 12 steps. So today's service is going to be focused on the second step. But before we reflect on the second step, we begin our service, as we do each time, with a time to think about those things and people we are thankful for this week. As part of our recovery, it is good to remind ourselves of the positives in our lives and the blessings we have received, as well as the challenges that each day provides. So we're going to have a short time of quiet when we can bring to mind one or two things that we're thankful for, or maybe people that you are grateful are in your life, even if they are socially distanced from you at the moment. So we hold a time of quiet while we bring those to mind. As part of our 6th and 7th step, we're honest with ourselves and with God about our shortcomings and those things that maybe we have thought, said and done which we know were not good or helpful, or indeed those things that we have not said and done that maybe we should have done. So in a moment of quiet, we now honestly admit those things to our higher power and we say sorry. I think I mentioned last week that I've been reading this fab book called Breathing Underwater by Richard Rohr, and the readings that I'm going to use each week for the steps come from that book as he reflects on each of the steps. So today our short reading comes from 2 Corinthians chapter 1. It was so bad we didn't think we were going to make it. We felt like we'd been sent to death row, that it was all over for us. As it turned out, it was the best thing that could have happened. Instead of trusting in our own strength or wits to get out of it, we were forced to trust God totally. Not a bad idea, since He's the God who raises the dead. And He did it. Rescued us from certain doom. And He'll do it again. Rescuing us as many times as we need rescuing. You and your prayers are part of the rescue operation. I don't want you in the dark about that either. Well, as we know, step 2 says this. We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Well, this reading could quite easily not look out of place in the big book, I reckon. I couldn't believe it when I read it as to how appropriate it was for those of us in recovery. How many times have you reached rock bottom or close to it? How many times have you sat or lay there and said to yourself that you cannot see a way out? You feel condemned to a lifetime of struggle with food or alcohol, drugs, gambling, and so on. I know there have been many times when I have maybe been really proud of myself that I've managed to control my food for a few months, lost some weight even, and my brain has then gone into those sly messages of, see, you can do it by yourself if you just try hard enough. You can eat a little bit of this and that and you will be okay now. That's what I see as my insanity. The messages which defy the logic of my recurrent situation. I then start the slippery slope to binging, fasting, overeating. And these are the times when I felt there is no way out and no end to it. Maybe for some of you, your addictions have led you to be told that you literally face death unless you change. But you can't. As the reading says, I've been relying on my wits to get me through, and I'm now learning that my wits alone will not get me out of this hole. My wits will see my disease progress. Rarely do we climb up from the bottom just once. The disease plays games and it manifests itself in different ways. It can get worse over time, and so the verse in the reading which reminds us that "and he did it," rescued us from certain doom, and he'll do it again, rescuing us as many times as we need rescuing. That offers me hope. I do wish I was one of those people who, as soon as they start the 12-step program, find abstinence and recovery. There doesn't seem to be too many of those, but instead the 12 steps are helping me to remove one obstacle at a time, one aspect of my addictive behaviour at a time. And I know that if I keep going, I will find complete abstinence and recovery, but I won't find it with my own wits and self-will. I can be quite stubborn. I know, who'd have thought? I like to think I know best, or certainly the best way to do something. And even if I discover that my way is not right, I tend not to admit that to anyone else, certainly not my husband. As a child, my hero was Wonder Woman, the Lynda Carter Wonder Woman of the 1970s. I dreamed of wearing her outfit, of having control over every situation and disaster. My home life was chaotic and stressful, and so an image of a strong woman was comforting. My other fantasy was found in Cinderella. I had the Ladybird version, and because home was a hard place to be, I dreamt that I was really this princess and someone would come and rescue me and deliver me from my hard life. It's only recently that I have seen how far back my insanity and addictive nature began, and how early my desire to be rescued came in. I suspect a lot of us have had similar mentalities. We want out, we don't like to admit we got it wrong, or that we're not able to do it alone, and we're scared. But it's not a coincidence that step 2 says we came to believe. It's a verb, it's a gradual verb. It doesn't say we believed, but we came to believe. It's a journey of belief that we need to rely on someone other than ourselves. Surrender doesn't happen in a single moment. It's a gradual reawakening, a journey of trust and handing over, backsliding and moving forward in baby steps. I don't need to worry about being cured overnight. It took me years to get to this point, and it'll take some time to get out of it. I know that. And as I said, I've been reading this book called Breathing Underwater about the 12 steps. And in this book, Richard Rohr suggests this. He says to finally surrender ourselves to healing, we have to have 3 spaces opened up within us, and all at the same time. Our opinionated head, our closed down heart, and our defensive and defeated body. And it's the tricky, the same time bit, which I think is hard. I know I can give one part of me over, maybe even 2. I can even allow some control to be taken from one area, but I usually hold tighter onto 1 or 2 of the other bits to compensate. But recovery will only come when all 3 are handed over, when we give every part of ourselves up to our higher power. Surrendering all these 3 parts of us means we can at last live in the moment, in the present, one day at a time. We can't control everything else or anyone else, but we can slowly hand over control of our heart, our head and soul to a higher power who is bigger and better than our own wits and will pick us up however many times we need rescuing. Thanks for listening. Following this, I thought we might say the second step prayer together, which draws together things that we've just been thinking about. So we're going to say together, God, I'm standing at the turning point right now. Give me your protection and care as I abandon myself to you and give up my old ways and my old ideas just for today. Amen. As part of our services, we always spend a little time thinking about other people. And so in the next few moments of quiet, we're going to offer over to God or our higher power, one another to one another, the people and situations on our hearts today. So just in that moment of quiet, bring those people to mind or those situations and hand them over. We're going to close the service today with two prayers, the Serenity Prayer, the shortened version, and also the third step prayer as we offer ourselves to our higher power and ask him to remove our difficulties as we go into another week. So we say the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And the third step prayer. God, I offer myself to you to build with me and do with me as you will. Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do your will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of your power, your love, and your way of life. May I do your will always. Amen. So thanks for joining me this morning or this afternoon, whenever you've watched it. Blessings to you for the week ahead, and I'll see you soon for step 3.